Well, they did it. NFT.com has announced the date of the blind auction for their Genesis keys, and 3,000 lucky people are going to be able to claim theirs during the blind auction on April 26th. But how does a blind auction work? How much are these Genesis keys going to cost? What is NFT.com? Are you on the whitelist? I have so many questions. And if you're not on the whitelist yet, you can still sign up at NFT.com and take part in the blind auction. The way that this auction is going to work is that everyone on the whitelist gets to bid on a Genesis key. So everyone on the whitelist starts bidding, and then the top 3,000 bidders will all win a Genesis key at the price of the 3,001st bid. In this video, we'll have more on that and all the details about the upcoming NFT.com platform and Genesis Keys launch. We've covered Jade's partnership briefly in another video and in another Medium article, but now that we have an official date for the Genesis Key blind auction, I thought I'd do a deeper dive so that we can unpack all the information together. So let's dive in. NFT.com will be the hub of all NFTs, digital artwork, and a lot more. And the platform is pretty unique in its design in that it's really doubling down on its community-first messaging and plans to be completely DAO governed. So even though they'll be supported by this rockstar core team, and this is a team that's already created or been a part of several unicorns in the industry, a lot of the direction of the protocol is going to come from the NFT.com DAO. But before we get into some of those projects, the team, any more about NFT.com, I want to talk a little bit briefly about DAOs. So a DAO stands for a decentralized autonomous organization. And it's just one way that NFT.com is bringing power back to the people. So unlike other NFT protocols or sources where, we've seen them suffer from insider trading and sometimes worse, DAO power, I like that, that's what I'm going to call it. DAO power is a big key differentiator for NFT.com. And, on the NFT.com website, you can read, it says, "We're creating the NFT hub and marketplace that the community deserves, a community-governed ecosystem for the NFT industry. This is NFT.com. No VCs, no LPs, only a DAO. For the people, by the people. We believe that those who adopt early and contribute value should reap the benefits of their contributions. Together, we will make this belief a reality." So if you know anything about me, you love when people are making beliefs a reality, especially when they're positive ones. And, I guess in short, NFT.com is powered by you. It's powered by us. It's powered by your peers. It's powered by the community at large. And the launch of these Genesis keys is what's going to open up the platform and make it more accessible to all of us. And I'll get into that in a second. Before we talk about the Genesis keys, though, I want to go through a laundry list of reasons that this project, is interesting to me and has garnered the attention of our analysts here at Jade Protocol. And number one is obviously the URL. They literally own the NFT.com domain. And as you can imagine, that's allowed them to bootstrap all kinds of organic traffic. And, if we want to put our speculation hats on, I think just the attention boost that this domain is going to get is likely to bolster floor prices for projects that are featured there. And of course, anytime that's happening, that drives value back into the community. So just owning NFT.com, regardless of who the team was, is a big deal. But the team is also kind of a big deal. They're all doxed, and you can read about them on the homepage at NFT.com. But NFT.com founder Jordan Freed has, already proven himself to be extremely reliable and pretty well seasoned in the space. He was a founding team member at HBAR, and he owns a newly publicly traded asset management company called Immutable Holdings. And you may have seen that there's a video going around Twitter of Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, if you don't recognize that name. Kevin mentioned in one of his recent videos an interest in both Jordan and NFT.com.
I've got another one I invested in with a guy named Jordan Freed. He's got Immutable Holdings. The ticker symbol will be HOLD. He owns the URL NFT.com. I met the guy when I'm launching a NFT in the watch space. I want to own that sector. I'm an insane watch collector. I know all the royal collectors. I know all the manufacturers.
What are you wearing there?
FP Journe, one of 17 in the world.
I feel like a peasant in my Breitling.
So the point is, if I had an NFT for this watch, authenticated by FP Journe himself and the company, when it goes in the secondary market after my death, it'll be accredited. It won't be, because a lot of these watches get knocked off. Mm-hmm. And so when you start trading the secondary market, an important piece like a Patek, an Audemars Piguet, a Rolex maybe, you're going to find a real demand for authentication, and the chain is the way to do it. And I don't think anybody is in a better position than I am to make that happen. Okay. But for that investment, it led me to Jordan Fried because he owns NFT.com. I said, listen, I need that URL because I want to go NFT.com/watch.
Going to charge a lot of money for that URL.
So that URL is part of his portfolio, and that company also is scheduled to be listed. And I'm now a shareholder in that. So, there's lots of derivatives we can talk about in the future, but that's an example of a deal. Instead of investing in some other opportunity, that capital went to Jordan because I really like the growth potential. It's risky, I get it, but he's a smart guy, and I love his team, and he's now in my portfolio. And everybody that's talking to me about NFTs, I say, meet Jordan, because look what he's got. Looky here. He's got the URL, and everybody goes, oh, I need that URL. Of course you need that URL. And he's reserved all of the big brands. So there's nobody squatting on, NFT.com/Nike. He's got it, and he's not stupid. So I think, to me, that's the kind of thing I'm talking about. There's so much opportunity in this crypto.
But Mr. Wonderful isn't the only interesting person taking note of NFT.com. Kozomo De Medici. Sound familiar? Kozomo is quoted on the NFT.com website as saying, I'm thrilled to support NFT.com in their quest to build a true creator-centric platform. We look forward to showcasing the Medici collection and sharing tales of the works of art. So who is Kozomo De Medici? Well, many have speculated that Kozomo is none other than sipping on gin and juice, yep, Snoop Dogg, but nobody really knows, so that's all just speculation. However, on September 20th of last year, Snoop Dogg came out on his official Twitter account and announced, I am Kozomo Medici. What do you think? Is Kozomo De Medici Snoop Dogg? Let me know in the comments. What we know for sure is that Kozomo is one of the earliest, most prolific NFT collectors in the space with millions of dollars in NFT holdings that Kozomo refers to as the Medici collection. These holdings include pieces from Xcopy, Right Click Save As Guy, several Bored Apes, CryptoPunks, and many more. So based off of this quote on the website, it sounds like the collection is going to be on display at NFT.com, which is pretty impressive. And I think this speaks volumes to the connection and Rolodex that the NFT.com have already. If they've been able to, get endorsements or statements from two, pretty mega celebs or influencers in the space like Mr. Wonderful and Kozomo. Say what you will about celebs in crypto or celebrity fawning, all that aside, these endorsements paired with a rockstar core team, and the NFT.com team has been involved in one or many multi-billion-dollar projects and companies, including HBAR, a venture capital firm called Animoca Brands, Reserve, and more. And all of that compounded together kind of makes my crypto spidey senses perk up a bit. And it's one of the reasons that I'm making this video. Despite some of this early attention, if you're watching this video, I'll echo a phrase that I hear a lot in the NFT space, but it's true. The saying goes, we're early, y'all. And I always add in that y'all part because Texas got to represent. But, that's why the NFT.com partnership and pairing with Jade Protocol and the Jade community is interesting because their Genesis keys, represent the start of a truly community-driven platform. And by Jade and Jade's community being involved early, we get to help bring NFT.com and everything that gets built there to, an ultimate tipping point and threshold that bleeds over into the massive retail marketplace. And so, that's something that we're becoming known for at Jade Protocol. We've continued to stand for this idea of, venture capital decentralized and having venture capital be reborn and re-energized at the retail level really looks like the community-driven ethos of what NFT.com is proposing. And it matches what Jade is able to bring to projects like this, because our community is able to provide early stage interest. And of course, that can help projects grow quickly. So I want you to check out the links in the description. Make sure that you get on the whitelist at NFT.com. I'm going to specifically link to their announcements page so that you know where to get the most up-to-date information as it comes out and as the Genesis keys are released. And then, of course, we'll be giving further updates about our partnership with NFT.com on the Jade Medium, the Jade Twitter account, and my personal profile on Twitter as well. So that out of the way, let's talk about kind of the first product or feature or use case that's going to be coming out of NFT.com. And if you've made it this far, I appreciate you. I'm glad that you're here. And I want to talk about why these Genesis keys look like such an interesting play. I guess we can start with some housekeeping about what they actually are. So Genesis keys are a collection of 10,000 unique NFTs that give you according to the website, the metaphorical key to NFT.com. These keys are created by a renowned design studio, and they're going to have varying rarity values, but they're really less about the art and more about these two primary use cases that we're going to talk about. So these Genesis keys allow users access to the future of the NFT space, which of course will be the NFT.com platform as it's developed. And Genesis key holders will get access to the actual website where they'll be able to open up additional utility as time goes on. And specifically, one of the first perks will be these NFT.com profiles. Each Genesis key unlocks 2 NFT.com profiles. And you heard Mr. Wonderful say in that video that he wanted to get NFT.com/watches. And your Genesis key is going to give you 2 URLs that you can lock in early. So as we saw with the ENS domains or even, .coms, you can imagine that certain NFT domains will have the potential for a lot of attention. And the reason that's interesting is because each profile, URL, so NFT.com/watches would be its own NFT that can be bought, sold, or traded. And so by being on the whitelist and participating in the blind auction for the Genesis key, you're basically creating a scenario where you get access to these NFT.com profiles before anyone else. And, NFT.com has the same inherent benefits that domains like crypto.com or bitcoin.com, blockchain.com, think about how iconic those domain names are. And now these Genesis keys are giving you access to what's being built at NFT.com. To me, it just seems like it's poised to become one of the staple domains and destinations in the crypto space. And I don't think anybody would argue that, or disagree that NFT.com, just because of the domain recognition, is going to have a lot of potential to become one of the future market leaders. And so, of course, who doesn't want to be on the ground floor of that? Helping make decisions, gaining early access to features. If we're talking about being in on the ground floor of a future market leader, go ahead and sign me up. I think the NFT.com DAO is one of the things that gets me excited about being a part of something early on, because I'm a builder. I like to put my time and energy into things that I believe in. And the NFT.com DAO, we talked about it a little bit before, but basically it's allowing the community to act on the direction and, really kind of pitch where the project goes via proposal submitting and voting on some of the on-chain proposals that come to the, I guess it'll be Snapshot or wherever the voting takes place. But it'll be similar probably to how the Jade community, you know, they submitted a proposal for Buybot 2.0. You know, that was voted on in Discord, and then once it reached a quorum in Discord, it was brought to an on-chain vote, and now that Buybot 2.0 is being built out as part of Jade Protocol. Genesis key holders are going to have the power to kind of kickstart features in the same way and define the direction of the project, from my understanding. And so, you know, imagine having a sizable impact on something like Uber or Airbnb, like any of these startups that everybody oohs and ahs and kind of fawns over. You know, if you could have been a part of that at the ground floor when they first launched, you know, now after all that success, that would have given all of us pretty good bragging rights. And you know, we don't know what the future holds, but to me, the team paired with NFT.com, paired with these Genesis keys and some of the things that I see on the roadmap, just look like an adventure that I'm ready to go on. So I want to read something directly off the NFT.com website. These Genesis keys allow you to shape the future of the digital renaissance. And while that may seem a little grandiose, if it means that I, you know, get to submit votes or proposals that are potentially seen by Kozomo De Medici or Mr. Wonderful, I mean, I don't know. Honestly, that seems like a really interesting 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon or however that old game goes. NFT.com has emphasized several places on the website that these Genesis keys are strictly use case only, and while they may look great, really the reason to purchase them is for access to the platform and all of its features, you know, not simply to get a profile pic NFT. And of course, you know, that marries with a trend we're seeing more and more of in projects where the underlying utility is really becoming the product, and it's no longer just about the scarcity of pixelated artwork. So, how do you get one of these Genesis keys? Well, there's going to be 10,000 of them. They'll be available in Q2 of 2022. The date for the blind auction was just announced as April 26th, and you know, considering, I think the last number I saw was that there's 360,000 NFT owners and growing. My guess is that, you know, for these NFT.com utility keys, the demand for these will start snowballing more and more as more people find out about them. And so the reason that we're bringing this to the Jade community early is so that you don't miss out on an opportunity to lock in one of these Genesis keys. And you do that by either joining the Discord server at NFT.com or setting alerts on the NFT.com Twitter account so that you can get all the latest and greatest about the Genesis key launch. So the Genesis key distribution is going to kind of break down in 3 parts. So 3,000 of the keys are going to be available to whitelist people on the whitelist. And just today, they announced that the blind auction is going to take place on April 26th. So the whitelist at NFT.com is where you can get in early before the rest of the retail marketplace. And the way the blind auction is going to work is that people on the whitelist will bid on the Genesis keys, and the top 3,000 people win a Genesis key at the price of the 3,001st bid. Beyond the blind auction, 6,750 keys are going to be a part of the public sale, and then 250 are reserved and going to teams, artists, and partners. So any partner who has an allocation from one of those 250 partner keys will not be participating in the blind auction, but they will still be able to participate in the public sale. Look at the links that I put in the description. It unpacks a lot more about kind of what these things are and dates and things that you should be paying attention to. But kind of to summarize everything that we've spoken about in this video, I'll start by saying that if you're watching this video, you're early. The blind auction and the public sale for NFT.com and these Genesis keys hasn't even happened yet, and people are really just starting to find out about this project. And I mean, when you look at the NFT.com domain, you know, really, how is that already not some kind of a massive platform in the crypto space? It's an awesome domain name, and personally, I think it's married to a pretty awesome core team. You know, and this team, I think, has the potential to build something that's pretty cool and led by community direction through the DAO. And, the analysts and fund management team at Jade Protocol believe the same thing, which is why we've decided to partner up with them and bring this opportunity to everybody in the Jade community. We've mentioned in several articles and videos that Jade is beginning to take off our DAO training wheels. And the purpose of that is engaging the community more in more and more decisions, right? And being a decentralized VC community, it's the Alpha Army's mission to find promising projects like NFT.com, that not only can, but will deliver on their roadmaps and promises. And, we fulfill that promise by partnering with highly competent teams like the people at NFT.com. And Jade Protocol being partnered with NFT.com means that our community gets access into the execution and the building process. In addition to that, Jade investors are going to get access to NFT.com beta testing and feedback, community exclusive AMAs, exclusive Discord channels, early NFT DAO induction and voting, whitelist access to new projects, and the thing that I think I'm most excited about is kind of figuring out innovative cross collaboration between the Jade and NFT.com teams and community. So at Jade, we have to accept that we are now the VCs, and that means that we're not only investors in these projects, but also brand ambassadors for each project that we end up joining up with. And our Alpha Army not only has the opportunity to go and spot these projects and fantastic early deals, but also assist in each project's development, which is similar to what a general partner, might do in a more centralized VC firm. So, when you look at some of the other projects that Jade has partnered with, like Dex Pools and the on-chain vote that we just had for Project X, one thing that I think we're going to find ourselves asking as a community more and more is, how do we further align our interests, meaning our personal and the protocol's interests, with the interests of the projects that we're investing in, or joining up with? And I think that's why DAO-governed protocols are interesting bets for us to make, because that means that the Jade community gets to have a voice in some of the foundational elements, direction, and crossover functionality that gets built into each of those products that we end up partnering with. So owning a Genesis key makes each of us who hold one a key decision maker. See what I did there? In each of these projects, and really allows us to start thinking collectively about how each can add value to the other. And I think that's a powerful place for our community to be in. And it's a huge value add that we get to bring to each partner protocol from NFT.com and beyond. In summary, I think NFT.com has been identified as Jade's first project in the NFT space. And, it's possibly one of the biggest first steps that we could have taken to shape the future of NFTs, because this protocol is going to have, I think, a lot of attention. And, because of that, it makes it interesting for us to be involved at an early stage. So that's all I've got in this video. What do you think? Are you going to get a Genesis key? Don't leave it up to me to decide. I want to hear your feedback on Twitter, in the comments here on YouTube. And let me know, what you're excited about when it comes to NFT.com and the Genesis keys that are launching on April 26th. I'll look for your comments below, and in the words of NFT.com and the NFT.com team, hold the key, unlock the future. I'm Jon Ray with Jade Protocol. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.